What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to DLF YouTube. I am your host today, Justin Wright, and we are breaking down two busts for, not only this season, but the foreseeable future in my eyes, right? We're talking two wide receivers, two second-year wide receivers specifically. Remember, guys, if you like what we're doing here, you like the DLF YouTube channel, subscribe, hit the like button. You got questions, comments, you want to tell me I'm an idiot for fading these two, go ahead. Drop it in the comments. Let's get into it. Number one on the list, we have Rondale Moore. I know what you're thinking, right? It's year two. He's a second-round pick. He had an insane college career. Why would I possibly be out on Rondale Moore? Really, this is an odds play. But both of these guys are. But right now, 72 wide receivers since 2010 have been drafted between the first and the third round and have had under 500 yards their rookie season. 6 of that 72 have topped 750 yards in year 2. 6. 1 in 12. And yes, Rondale Moore played 14 games and he missed 3, right? And if he plays 17, yeah, he's just over that 500-yard threshold. But if we use 16 games like all those other players had, Rondale is still under that 500-yard threshold. We're just saying fade face-planting wide receivers. The majority of the time, if a guy is not good in year 1, and I'm saying like not good at all, 500 yards is not a high bar to cross, right? If they are really terrible, they tend to not bounce back, right? So again, this is not the sole reason to fade Rondale Moore, but just historically, it plays a huge factor, right? But now let's go look at, what has the team done to say, Rondale, we're going to elevate your role. We're going to expand what you do in this offense. They let Christian Kirk leave. That in free agency was a good sign, right? That's what you wanted to see. They brought back AJ Green, and you're heading into the draft thinking, okay, if he can survive, the first, second round, even the third round, Rondale is in for a huge year 2. That doesn't happen. They go out, they trade for Hollywood Brown. He's a significantly better wide receiver than Rondale Moore is. I don't think that's a question. I don't think anybody's really unsure of that. So now you have Hollywood Brown, you have DeAndre Hopkins, you still have AJ Green, you have Zach Ertz, you got James Conner, you got Darrell Williams. There's so much in this offense that it's tough to find a genuinely fantasy meaningful role for Rondale Moore this season. And guess what? If he flops in year 2 again, year 3, what are you doing? You're left with an asset that has completely depreciated in value. That's what you're really trying to do. You're trying to guess, whose value is increasing and decreasing. It's less about player evaluation and more about playing the market. And right now you're looking at a guy where if he flops, all of that value is gone. The little bit of value that is left. Right, he's not going very high in drafts anymore, and I'm trying to get out for anything I can at this point, right? Again, Hollywood Brown is going to take that number 2 role. There's no question about it. They don't give up that kind of draft capital to pair him with DeAndre Hopkins coming off suspension. AJ Green's going to be the wide receiver 3. Rondale's their gadget guy. We all joked about Rondale Moore is the new Tavon Austin when he came out because the size. It's exactly what has happened here. So Rondale Moore, there's just historical data. There's the team moves. All of it points to him just probably not having a great fantasy career. And yeah, you're not going to get a lot for him now. I don't care. Move him for the bare bones minimum and get out now. Looking at our second guy here, we have another one. It is Kadarius Toney. And Kadarius Toney, again, under the 500-yard mark. A little bit less meaningful because it was in 10 games, and if you play him 16, he's well over, right? That's not the concern. It's just he wasn't very good outside of 2 games. 20% of his games were over 40 yards. That's it. Again, and I get, you got to get acclimated as a rookie and this and that, and he had a really good yards per route run, right? That analytically, he's at the threshold you want to be at. However, they draft Wan'Dale Robinson, who, again, not the exact same type of wide receiver, significantly smaller, but a guy I know Addison here loves. But a guy that is going to be utilized in the offense, right? He's dynamic. He's shorter. He's kind of the Rondale Moore in this offense, unfortunately. But a guy that's going to be utilized around the field. You have a second year of Kenny Golladay hopefully being healthy and returning to not necessarily dominance, but somewhat relevance. You have Sterling Shepard. You have Saquon Barkley back, right? Evan Ingram is out. You bring in Ricky Seals-Jones and Daniel Bellinger. Not too important. But you're just looking at a wide receiver room and an offense full of good, not great pieces with a genuinely terrible quarterback. That's the other piece here is not only was Toney not great last year, he still has the same quarterback that he was pretty terrible with. And they have the new head coach, right? They have their new offense in place. I don't know how much that matters for Kadarius Toney. It's just the pieces, the way it fits together does not seem to be conducive to fantasy success for really anybody in that offense, probably outside of Saquon Barkley. There's not many wide receivers in the NFL that have, over 50% of their yards accumulated in 2 games. But that's exactly what Kadarius Toney did, right? Over 250 of his 420 yards came in 2 games. 45% of his yards came in 1 game. And yeah, that's your ceiling, right? That is what you can point to and say, this is the path to him being successful. But in this offense, with that quarterback, with this team, I don't see how he gets there, right? And again, he's a guy people are still believing in. People are currently hyping up as we head into redraft season. So his value is going to be on the rise. Again, if I can flip him for a second-round pick, people may think that's low. If I can flip him for a mid to high 2023 second, I'm going to take that deal. I'm going to avoid the face-planting wide receivers. I understand the analytical argument, and that's usually where I lean. But there's something about Kadarius Toney that does not feel right. Again, I don't think he should have been a first-round pick last season, let alone, the lead wide receiver on just a bottom 5 offense. So if that's where you would like to plant your flag, I get it. I get the argument for why he's there. I'm not buying the yards per route run. I'm looking at everything else. The quarterback, the offense, the player himself not just producing at all as a rookie, really. That's enough for me to say I am out on Kadarius Toney. All right, guys, that is all I have for you. Again, as always, if you like what we're doing, subscribe to the channel. Questions, comments, drop it all below. Like the video, all that fun stuff, guys. As always, thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.